Hello, this is Susan DeBose, and I'm running for Alabama House 45. I want to update you on what's going on with this reapportionment. They are meeting in Montgomery starting today. The legislators have been called back into special session, and they're going to vote on these maps. I posted the map on my Facebook page. It has not been released publicly. We still cannot get a public release of maps, but there has been some maps leaked. So we know exactly what they were up to. And I want you to go to my Facebook page and zoom into that map and look at what they've done to Greystone. You will be disgusted. The good old boys are at work. They have totally gutted our neighborhood. Most of you, over 2,000 of the registered voters in our neighborhood, are being moved to District 48. That's the one with Vestavia and Mountain Brook. A handful of us are remaining in Greystone, District 45. Just me and a few houses surrounding me are still in 45. That was done specifically to benefit my opponent. I live in Greystone. I've lived with my family here for 22 years, and I want to run for office to represent you, to represent all of District 45. But the good old boys are at work. They've taken away all the voters within this neighborhood except a handful. You guys that I have lived with, most of you will not even be able to vote for me due to this gerrymandering that has gone on. I wish I had a solution. I wish I knew how to fix it. We've had petitions signed, we've had phone calls made, we've had letters written. If somebody has an idea, let me know, because it's just not right.
And I can't find a seconder usually when I propose this, but I don't care. I don't need a seconder. My own opinion is enough for me, and I claim the right to have it defended against any consensus, any majority, anywhere, any place, any time. And anyone who disagrees with this can pick a number, get online, and kiss my ass.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed are greater than the legal services provided by other lawyers. I'm Harry Steele. You found the Backstory Podcast, number 106. Does that sound right?
Yep.
I have my client and partner in crime, Mr. Paul Ripp, in studio. How are you, Mr. Ripp?
Very good, very good. I can't believe there's good old boys in Birmingham.
Yeah, there's good old boys everywhere, and we'll get to that. And Mr. Russian, how's things in Houston?
I don't know. I hadn't had my head out the door much this week. I've been paying too much attention about what's going on Goat Hill. And to my surprise, it is confusing, and I ain't got the slim shiggity going on. I have no idea.
Really?
So you're looking at a picture that I took of a mural in the Sanger Theater in Madrid. I went and saw Bruce Hornsby. Wow, he's aged gracefully,
yes.
like Governor Ivey almost. So, on to the news. Of course, everybody knows that we're spending all the COVID money that we were supposed to give to businesses and people who needed it on prisons. And Governor Ivey joined in with A.G. Marshall to file a federal lawsuit opposing vaccine mandates that are coming to a federal contractor near you in December.
That will go nowhere.
Yeah, and like we said last time, it's federal supremacy. Of course, you guys remember me telling you that McCutcheon said we're here to do the good work of the people and do reapportionment?
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Elliott's little bill passed with flying colors.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Like grape nuts through a goose.
Yeah.
So I thought this was particularly hilarious. Raines, did you see this? It just came out a few hours ago. It's a historical guide to vaccinations and the fact that for 4 decades you've had to vaccinate your children before you could send them to public school.
And that's in all 50 states.
Right. And so what's the deal with this vaccine stuff?
They're just prejudiced against it.
So do you remember what I said last week about the redistricting?
Right.
Yeah.
What?
What? Okay. So best I can tell.
Good luck.
Oh, my goodness. This is so confusing.
And they have yet to release a map here either, right?
No, these are the maps as far as we know.
All right.
And this was put up by AL.com, and it's an interactive map, and I'll show you some more of it. But as you can see, Senator Greg Albritton's district runs all the way. it encompasses all of the sphere of influence that the Poarch Creek Indians want. You know,
Right.
Owa's right here,
Right.
and and he's their senator. Just ask him; he'll tell you. Taxman Elliott, we'll get to a little bit of that in a minute, but somehow he excluded almost all of his everybody who said they were going to run against him, kind of like Ms. DuBose up there in
Right.
Greystone.
Right.
They've all been excluded from his district. So check out Bay Minette. Holy hellfire. So there are 4 different House districts that bifurcate Bay Minette, fractionate Bay Minette.
Well, that's not confusing.
Whose district is this? What is that?
What is that? Which district is that?
Robertsdale Central Business Corridor District. I don't know what you call it. And you know, Steve's district's just down here. It's just squat. But look at this. Guess whose district runs all the way from Brewton all the way down to Wolf Bay?
Who's that?
Yeah, it's Baker. He's the state rep for the Indians. So don't tell me there's no shenanigans going. All I got to do is look at that.
Yeah.
Look at this district. So where I lived in Bay Minette, guys, I would have to get in my car and drive all the way to Marengo County to go meet with or is that Choctaw County way up here, to go meet with my state representative. That's insanity.
Yeah, it is.
This whole thing's nuts. So the Alabama House of Representatives debates a plan to reapportion state 7 congressional districts based on the 2020 census. Of course, that got approved. And then here's where we start talking about people crying foul over the redistricting process. Now, you remember Chris Pringle. He ran for U.S. House seat 1 against Carl.
Correct.
You remember that?
Correct.
So he's one of the people, with the co-chairman of the reapportionment committee, and he says, our goal is to draw districts that equitably apply the committee's guidelines, and one of those guidelines was to not pitch incumbents against each other. So do you see what they did? They put their finger on where Chris Elliott lives, and they massaged the district around him. And they did the same thing for the rest of them. Instead of doing something that would make sense for the fastest growing county in Alabama, which would be to nest all of our senators and representatives inside the county lines.
Kind of like coming up with special qualifications for sheriff that eliminate everybody.
In Baldwin County, former emergency management director Mitchell Sims has taken to Facebook in recent days and has fired off criticism at the process. Sims announced this summer he was running for Senate District 32 against incumbent State Senator Chris Elliott, Republican Daphne. Sims, who lives in South Baldwin County near the OI Entertainment Complex in Foley in Alberta, now finds himself in Senate District 22, represented by Greg Albritton from Atmore.
And good luck with running against Greg. He'd have a lot better chance with Elliott.
And you see Mr. Sims' messages and whatever. Sims said he believes his opponent Elliott had something to do with drawing him out of the district. Elliott does not serve on the reapportionment committee. Well, that means his hands are clean, Paul.
Duh. Yeah, it's like 2 people voting. I mean, there's 3 and 1 doesn't vote and the other 2 do. It's okay, Harry.
So I spent a good bit of my week paying attention to things going on in the courtrooms across the country. Most importantly, the New York gun permit law that was heard by the Supreme Court, and I was just astounded at the argument. I just couldn't believe that was.
What was the outcome?
Well, there was no outcome. They're going to issue an opinion, but it was, and the Solicitor General for the state of New York was terrible. She was, I mean, they were pitching her softballs, and she just couldn't hit one. So they were talking about the difference in, if you're out in the rural area, you might need to have a weapon on you. But if you're in New York City where there's a law enforcement presence, and I'm sitting there going, that is the biggest crock of crap I've ever heard of. The cops in New York City show up, take pictures of your dead body, wrap you up. They get Serve Pro in there, and then they rent the damn place to somebody else. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Lagniappe cover story, Paul, and Raines doesn't know about this case, I don't imagine. This really brings some things home for me because this girl's body was dumped on Still Road.
Right. This is the one by Gabe Times, A Life in Prison, and talking about changing laws of juvenile justice, leave Baldwin County killer in limbo. And you know some of these people personally, don't you?
I do. So, Raines, how old were we in 89?
About 16.
Mm-hmm. Clayton Flowers was a year older than me, I think. Maybe
you
two.
guys are,
a year older.
You guys are babies.
Yep. So there's the newspaper article at the time, and I can just tell you they bludgeoned her to death. They raped her, beat her, sodomized her, bludgeoned her to death to cover up their crime. And like I said,
then threw
the
her
fact
off a
that
bridge.
one of them was 15 at the time was neither here nor there with me. They're too antisocial to be out there with the rest of us.
Threw her off a bridge.
Threw her in the water, and that's a little creek that I have fished in many times.
Well, you know, it's really difficult when you talk about life without parole, and then you talk about a juvenile, 15 or 16. How capable are you of making life-altering decisions at that time? I mean, I'm not justifying it in any way, but I'm saying, you know, you got somebody in jail 25, 35 years. At what point do you say, okay, you know, let's try something different? I don't know. Very, very, very difficult.
Well, that's the whole point of the parole system.
Yeah.
That's the entire point of the parole system. And I am very anti-death penalty. And I think that, you do a life sentence, you do 25 years to life, you do 35 years, you're eligible for parole. Let the parole board sort it out. That's the way I look at it. If you're a 16-year-old and you commit a heinous, violent crime, you're going to spend the better part of your youth and everything else. You're going to not get out of jail till you're in your 40s.
Right.
And that's if the parole board lets you out. I'm with that.
Okay.
I'm here for that. I don't believe these people should have a second chance to walk our streets because they had a misstep in judgment.
So
if you're convicted of a capital crime when you're 16 years old, kids do stupid things, but I guarantee you, I'm not going to be the guy standing out in front of the courthouse that says, my son, he's a good kid and he didn't deserve 250 years for raping and molesting all of our neighbors and killing 6 of them. No, it's ridiculous. Kids do dumb things, and when they do grown-up crimes, they do grown-up time.
So in Miller versus Alabama, the Supreme Court of the United States held that the trial court could not automatically sentence a juvenile to life in prison without parole for capital murder. Rather, the court stated that a judge or jury must be able to consider the mitigating qualities of youth before imposing a sentence of life without parole. So basically what's going to happen is they're going to bring him back down here. He's going to be in front of Judge Bishop. He's going to take that into consideration, and he's going to sentence him to life again.
Right.
And I might just go sit in on that one.
Well, I do see people get life without parole on some things, and I look at it and think, man, that, they don't have as substantial evidence, but, with these kids here, they caught them red-handed, and they admitted to everything that happened, and it was absolutely horrible.
It was absolutely horrible. And to think I went to school with those kids.
And think all the people it affected, families and everything.
So be careful when you go to meet someone that you've never met before, like, say, on Facebook Marketplace.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Car sale ended up with a man being stabbed multiple times and 2 women behind bars. That's trustful. That's North Alabama. So, Etowah County teacher who allegedly produced child pornography, 39-year-old Amy Sudbury, who is a 3rd grade teacher at Boaz Elementary School, well, we made the big-time papers.
Yep. We always do when it's something like this. I wish New York Post would cover the, executive director of the Ethics Commission.
Yeah, well, that's a different kind of pornography.
Right.
So, Raines, I don't even know where to begin with this headline.
I cannot believe you snuck this in and hit me over the head with this. Okay, first and foremost, this guy hadn't been a coach at Alabama for a long time.
First, you got to read the title real slow.
In the voice of Sir William Attenborough, I have a request.
Listen to me very carefully. This guy's girlfriend, all right, is how did Jim put it? A hard edge exotic dancer. I'm talking, she's worked the second shift a long time. She is a current exotic dancer in College Station. There may be an expedition to College Station because it's only an hour and a half from here.
You need to interview her. You need to get to the bottom of this, Range Russian.
Interview this person. Now, just to be fair, Coach Saban fired this guy a while back. He stole him from A&M, fired him, and now the guy's back at A&M. So I'm not saying he's not the world's greatest special teams coach. He's actually a pretty good special teams coach. But good grief, buddy. But the boys from Hoover would have never put up with a headline like this.
The headline, monkey of pole dancer girlfriend of ex-Alabama assistant coach allegedly bites child at Halloween party. Give me a break. Holy moly.
He was the tight end coach, by the way.
Tight end, yeah, right.
There. Okay.
Oh.
So I need just a minute.
Nicolette Schleisman has been following closely the increase in violence in the city. She joins us now live in the studio. And Nicolette, it appears the new chief has his work cut out for him.
Yeah, Rosanna, it does. And Mobile Police Chief Paul Prine says that they are not going to tolerate these shootings.
None of these shootings are acceptable.
In the past month, there have been at least 18 different reports of shooting into cars, including yesterday. A shootout on Dauphin Street near I-65 in the middle of traffic. Mobile police say people in two cars were shooting at each other. One of the cars involved was found at Spring Hill and I-65. One man was shot in the leg. Another car at Dauphin Street, not involved in the shootout, was also hit by a bullet. No one was injured in that car. This is the latest in a string of shootings happening within the city limits.
The vast majority of them are known to each other. They're isolated incidences, so that means they're not random incidences in the community.
Mobile Police Chief Paul Prine says they rolled out their 2021 strategic plan to combat the violence after he was appointed to this position.
Part of that is intelligence-led policing, among many other things. We're trying to combat it by backfilling patrol. All new candidates that are being hired are currently completing their training program, and upon doing so, they'll be immediately sent to the patrol to beef up our patrol division.
And he says they will take action against those pulling the triggers.
We're going to seek their arrest aggressively, and we're going to use whatever power and means we have with the court system to lock them up and keep them locked up.
Well, Raines, what says you?
I say it's just more talk from a political position. You know, you have a bunch of shootings, you go on television, you say, we're not going to take it anymore. We're going to put more officers on the streets. And what does he say in the midst of that? We're going to rush our officers through training.
Yep.
We're going to get them out. And the first thing we're going to do is put them on the road, and we're going to put them in this
ultra violent situation.
We're going to put them on these task force to get out there and get after it. Well, there's nothing I'd like more than a dozen rookie Mobile police officers being thrown out into the street saying, go find the guys with guns. It's a bad message. It's reactionary, and it's frankly ridiculous. And I think the people of Mobile deserve a little bit better as far as an actionable plan for how they're going to cut down on the gun violence in their city. There's not a real template for that.
No.
Cities that have gun violence till everybody's either killed or till they run out of bullets.
Been going on in Birmingham 25 years.
So it turns out the bowling alley shooter who shot 4 individuals Tuesday night was free on bond for murder.
Man.
Yeah.
Former Louisiana state trooper sentenced
for
distributing child pornography depicting child rape.
What?
That he'll live out his life in solitary.
Oh my God!
So remember the mule kick, she horse kicked the deputies.
Yeah.
I have an update. So DeSantis issued an executive order suspending her.
Suspending her?
Yeah.
From the Destin
Well,
City
when
Council?
you're an elected, if you're a duly elected official and just about every state has this law, if you're a duly elected official, they can't fire you for something like that. The voter's job is to fire you. But the governor can do what the governor did. And I guarantee you somebody brought this to his desk. He didn't dream this up.
Right.
Typically,
what you have to do is suspend them from public office.
Well, typically what would happen is they would be impeached.
Now, exactly what did she do?
So listen, this is what's hilarious. They accused her of using her Destin City cell phone to conduct private business.
Oh.
So this was an ethics investigation.
Okay.
So they showed up at her house with a warrant. We're here to get all your computer stuff. And she's like, what the F? The same thing you and I would say, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, she ended up horse kicking somebody, one of the cops or whatever. And so now she's, you go up against law enforcement and in the South.
Not a good idea.
Okay, so have you been watching the Kyle Rittenhouse case reigns?
Self-defense.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I thought this was kind of the bombshell so far. I can tell you his defense team is doing a abysmal job. At least the opening statements, the state whipped their ass big time.
Yep, I would agree. The witness that the defense put up, the guy that talked about the shout, shove, shoot, that he was trained in. Good God, that was your ace defense witness. It is doing more and more to prove that this kid set out on a journey to murder, and that's a hard look to get past in a jury situation.
Now he was what, 16, wasn't he? At the time,
17, and anyway, I disagree with that. Like I said, we're gonna let the jury decide. But anyway, I thought the voir dire was interesting. Opening statements were abysmal, but I think that's compelling in a self defense case that there's a third party witness that says the guy threatened to kill him.
In the film cut, it shows this girl running him down the street and hitting him with a purse, and he's carrying an armed weapon. Did you see that? This was after
a lot of people on drugs at that thing, I reckon. I mean, did you see anything about the scene that night that made any sense to you, Paul Rip?
Well,
I didn't.
I just kept getting blips of it, but where after he shot the guy and then he takes off down the street, one girl chases him down the street and swats at him with a purse or something. And I'm going, man, what are you thinking? He just shot somebody and he's got a weapon on him. The hell are you trying to chase him down the street? Let the guy get out of your way. Anyway, he'll be spending the rest of his life in jail probably.
Probably. So some good news from the federal courts. A federal judge, in response to a request from AL.com, ordered Huntsville to release body cam video of a police shooting and killing of Crystal Ragland. Now the city has called a press conference to show the footage to the public. So this past week, the Alabama Ethics Commission went into executive session for about 5 hours, and when they came out, they recommended that the Attorney General review ethics violations, accusations against Clark County District Attorney.
But not to look at themselves.
I'll let you take that jab. So it turns out that if you're looking for mayhem and murder, a good place is a production of a major motion picture. Did you see this? Indiana Jones 5 crew member found dead on location.
It feels like if you're really looking for just murder and mayhem, just go to the New York Post.
Yeah, really.
Or
watch the Mobile News.
Right. So Elon Musk came out this week and took a jab at Fauci and said there should be term limits, even for deep state multi-billionaire Bond villains. Says the other Bond villain.
Right. Oh.
So, did you see this tweet? How come the southern states who didn't follow any of the guidelines don't have any COVID? Because we just got over a huge wave of infections down here. That's why.
Charles M. Blow. Oh, I saw this. I love this one.
Do you know about Doug?
Doug the potato.
Doug the potato. This is what the AP picks up. 17
No,
pound
that's
potatoes.
AP oddities. That's a whole other account from the regular AP. That's just a section. AP sports, AP this, AP that, AP oddities. It's just a thing. And that's an oddity. It's a big deal. That's a big-ass potato, dude. It's a 17-pound potato.
New Zealand.
You know, and you only got to peel one to get 17 pounds out of it? Are you kidding me? That's
I got
awesome.
a feeling that thing wouldn't taste too good.
I'd feed the whole neighborhood on it. Yeah, sure it would. I'd make a potato salad out of it. You'd lose your mind.
Tater salad. 46.4 million infected in the United States with SARS-CoV-2 with 752,939 deaths.
750,000.
And no one has resigned. And my ear's still ringing. And there's a look at the southeastern United States. That's last week. Hot spots this week didn't change much. And this is total cases, total deaths. Deaths within the last 14 days is 2. New cases this week is 85, and that's consistent with last week. So, Mo Brooks.
Yep.
Have you seen all the MAGA? So, coming here today, did you see all the MAGA Mo signs up on 90?
No, I didn't come that way.
Yeah.
What
It doesn't say Mo Brooks, it says MAGA Mo. That's all it says on the sign.
I say no, Mo.
Me too. I'll vote for the evil Snow White.
Right.
And our de facto governor here is still in the run-ins to be the USA president.
How long does that take?
I don't know.
Been doing that weeks.
I don't know. So it's time for the Rip Report, and talk about moderately offensive, Mr. Rip.
Moderately. Allegedly.
Allegedly offensive.
How did you like it, Raines?
I thought it was pretty good, but much like the Texas A&M special teams coach, it was a bit hard to get past the headline, Paul. I gotta be honest with you.
Well, I invite everybody to go to ripreport.com. We're also on Facebook. Well, we do the podcast as well. This week it was fried chicken and watermelon. And the Rotary Club, Fairhope Rotary Youth Club, the one that's in the black neighborhood there on Young Street, was having a meeting where the city officials and people of the new comprehensive plan, and when I say new comprehensive plan, I've been in 3 of them, and to let you know that of the 3, the people that broke the comprehensive plan and went against it the most was the city itself. But anyway, the club, the Rotary Youth Club, has been neglected for years. It is in the city. And during that time, the city has expended money in many, many different areas with no result. They've promised the black neighborhood certain things with no result. And years ago, Mayor Kant used to show up, seriously now, I'm not joking, with fried chicken and watermelon every 4 years to get everybody to vote, for him back in, and then nothing would happen. So my point is, I just hope that people that will ask the city council and the present mayor and their comprehensive plan how they justify the things like storage buildings, dollar stores, buying the having to settle now. They had to settle a triangle lawsuit for $11.5 million. They spent $2.65 for a park, which was supposed to be for recreation, 106 acres, all the way out by the airport. The optional site was closer to town and more accessible by the black neighborhood, but they turned that down to buy farmland that they later leased for $9,000. So, you know, when you go to these meetings and you see them up there and they're telling you, yeah, this and that, there's always another side. That's over $20 million that they have spent on different projects with no return. No return at all yet.
And let's talk about this for a second while you're talking about Tim Cant.
Yeah.
Okay, the city of Fairhope just entered into a consent decree with ADEM to spend millions of dollars on their sewer plant because for years they diverted money from the utility fund to pay for flowers and Christmas lights and
they took
anything but what they should have.
And
Christmas lights.
And they took $3 million out of the utility fund to pay for the lawsuit of the triangles thing. The other thing is the current mayor is now the head of utility as well as the mayor, so she's getting two checks at one time. And the past administration, which was Karen Wilson, refused to take the two checks because she thought it was a conflict of interest, and I agree with her. Now the mayor is in charge of the utilities again. They get in a tight pinch. Guess what? They're going to hit that utility fund again. Watch and see.
Well, they're obligated to spend that money on the wastewater treatment plant and notification to people when they dump a bunch of sewage into the waterway right next to the public beach.
Well, the one thing that they did many years ago was they were going to spend $10 million to upgrade the sewer plant downtown. That's right next to the bay, right? And I think it was $10 million was the quote. They figured it was $19 million to move it off-site into the country, change the whole thing. Well, they decided they'd go with the $10 million and redo it. The $10 million turned in to be $13 million. And then when they did finish the project, after spending $13 million, it came to light that not one single foot of infrastructure sewer line had been repaired. So now they've repaired the sewer plant, but they can't get the sewer to the plant. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to get to some sewer here in a minute. So I wanted to reiterate that you're working to help get signatures for District 8's new proposed zoning, and that's the green area.
Correct.
Here.
Thank you for that. The black up there is Fairhope. The green is the new District 8. People are seeing more and more that they really need to be zoned to protect themselves. You've got RSA trapping that District 8 all in there, and it needs to be zoned.
Okay, so we're going to do a deeper dive into this, but just for today's purposes, a lawsuit targeting Baldwin County judicial appointments was dismissed this week. It was a federal lawsuit, and essentially the petitioner had asked Judge Thomason to recuse herself. She refused. It went all the way to the Supreme Court of Alabama, and the petitioner then filed a lawsuit in federal court basically saying, who the hell elected Michelle Thomason to hear domestic relations cases? Right. Those are cases that are exclusive to the jurisdiction of the circuit court judges. Well, she was appointed 8 years ago to be a special circuit court judge, and she's been doing it ever since, disenfranchising the voters of Baldwin County, yada, yada.
Very disappointing.
Anyway, the reason for dismissing it was that there was an active case in controversy in state court. So, seeing as this has to do with a 10-year-old child, does that mean she has to wait till the kid turns 19 to seek federal relief?
Right, because she could be in court forever.
Well, I think it's an idiotic opinion, and I don't agree with it. And
I'm very disappointed.
Learned opinion on it.
Michelle Thomason needs to go one way or another, even if it's just by shaming her totally.
Okay, so Paul, you are on, my friend. Tell us about the $1 million swimming pool.
Oh yeah, we covered this many years ago. This is another Lagniappe article, and we're only highlighting a couple of things in Lagniappe here. You've got all types of information in your Lagniappe, so I encourage you to get one free or go online. This article's motion denied. Judge allows fraud claims against Peloton developers to continue. Gabe Times. Now, we covered this years ago. We called it the $1 million swimming pool, right? But last week there was only standing room crowd in Fairhope Courthouse when attorneys were representing Baldwin County's largest homeowner, Home Builders, D.R. Horton, and another representing a group of developers and investors argued a lawsuit filed by the Bellatone Property Owners Association in 2020 should be dismissed. Their defense was simple. Listen to this. The complaint's 12 causes of action, including declaratory judgment, willful and reckless misrepresentation, fraudulent concealment and suppression of facts, breach of fiduciary duty, unjust enrichment, and conspiracy, were barred by statutes of limitations. So their defense is that the statute of limitations is over, so it's over. But they're not really refuting the charges, which I think is just, very telling. In fact, what they are saying is that if we were guilty, you should have caught us sooner, okay? But
exactly.
The article Patrick Collins and Will Chasen argued for the defendants. And this is a mortgage of about $625,000. Now, Will Chasen, I believe, Harry, is it not right that he was one of the attorneys in the Strawman cases, right?
He was Boots Bass's attorney, yes.
Right. So those of you that want to look and delve into some of the development corruption that's in Baldwin County, which is rampant, and it comes up. It's all the same people every single time. Baldwin County Sewer is in here from one end to the other.
And this is Delaney and Clarence Burke. Same people, same players. The straw man.
Exactly the same thing all over again. They found in discovery that Pennstar, one of the co-signers on the note, is owned 50% by Wolf Creek, which is owned 100% by Clarence Burke and Alliance Limited, is also owned by the Delaney family. And Collins told the court. So these people are both the borrowers and the lenders of the debt, and they didn't even find this out until the lawsuit was filed. Now, how this all came about was in 2018, the POA was handed back to the community for the first time, and member property owner Rick Norman, a retired investigator for the U.S. Coast Guard, began investigating the debt, and ultimately he convinced them to file suit. So Judge Jody Bishop has agreed, and the next day he denied the defendant's motion for summary judgment, and the case is scheduled for trial early next year. Let's hope somebody gets spanked good and proper, and the homeowners on assessed money that greedy developers come up with all these creative ways of taxing them. And then at the same time, this has always been my bitch, is you read these articles like this and everything's an LLC and hidden under this name and that name, and then when you dig deeper, you find out they're all owned by the same person, So it's prevalent in Baldwin County. Check out the Strawman and then read this one, and you'll see you got the same cast of characters. Good job on the article by Gabe.
All right. Early polls show Fairhope residents prioritize growth management and character retention. Well, you can't eat any of the fish. I see all the chocolate fish.
Right.
That's from,
You're not supposed to eat those.
Sewage.
Right.
Thank you, Baykeeper.
Enjoy the bay, but don't get in it.
Sewage. Okay, so I want to go over this one more time. Oh, a couple more local stories. There's going to be an amphitheater and pier expansion planned at Daphne's Bayfront Park, and you'll recall this is the same park where everyone was outraged that someone went and filled their alligator tags right there.
Right.
With the local pet alligators.
Right.
Okay, so I want to switch gears real quick and show you some other interesting things. Okay.
Such as
let's take a look at the new House map for Alabama, and in particular, Baldwin County.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you see this district right here?
Yeah. Isn't that kind of shape funny?
Isn't that shape kind of funny? So anyway, right here's the Indian Casino, and right down here is the
right down
OWA. You see OWA, and you have Buc-ee's, and the Beach Express is going to go right through here, right?
And they want you to believe that this just happened to be the way it was drawn.
Yeah, and just imagine if so let's zoom in on Bay Minette, and let's just look at how many different house districts they have to deal with there.
And Bay Minette alone.
So guess where this guy lives?
Where?
Way the hell up here somewhere. This is House District 65. And right now the incumbent's Brett Easterbrook.
Well, you won't be seeing him in Bay Minette much.
No. And so then check this out. Guess where this guy lives?
Where?
Way the hell over here in Satsuma somewhere. Shane Stringer. He used to be the chief of police in Satsuma. Like he gives a damn about anything on this side of the bay. Yeah.
Oh, he's gaining, man. He loves all those rural folks.
So let's see here.
Loves all that red rural area, I guarantee you.
So then there's 64, which is basically the central corridor, right?
Yeah.
And then you got Faust District and McMillan. Okay?
Right.
I can't understand this. I mean, Baldwin County is so important, and we can't nest the House districts and the Senate districts here. So let me explain something to you. Whenever Baldwin County wants to do anything very rudimentary, like change their personnel policy,
right,
they have to go to the state legislature to approve that change. So now, supposedly Jeb Ball's going to have to get in his car and drive all over the state of Alabama to get a bunch of legislators to agree to let us do something that we ought to have home rule to do anyway. So they're your new House districts, boys and girls.
Well,
check that one out.
Meant to be confusing.
Yeah. Unbelievable, right? So let's go check out another one. Let's check out the Senate. And okay. So here's the new Senate. So guess who, one more time, has half of Baldwin County and all of the Indian Casino?
Greg.
This is Greg Albritton's district.
Shocking.
Look at this. Why does he come up, squirt over here into Saraland?
There's something over there they need.
So then here's Elliott, who says, "Oh, I had nothing to do with drawing this map. I don't know how this happened." So then
he cut out competition with it.
So now here's Vivian Figures district, which now takes in a good part of Spanish Fort
across the bay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and let's see here.
You're not going to be seeing her over here much.
In that one, good. That's good to know.
Nope.
So anyway, that's Albritton's district there, and Taxman, Miss Figures. It makes no sense. There should be 2 senators for all of Baldwin County, and you could make that happen and make the numbers work.
Now the rumor is, and I say a rumor is that Tim Cant's going to run against Chris Elliott, and the first thing that comes to my mind there is it's like a fix. They want Elliott to stay in, so they have Tim run against him, and Tim doesn't mind losing. I mean, that's the way my mind thinks after living down here.
Absolutely plausible, Paul.
Yeah, that's the way.
That's a definable strategic point for politics. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I hear former Mayor Dobbins is going to run for a House seat up in Bay Minette. Yeah, but bad idea number 75 we've talked about today. All right, guys, you got anything else you want to kick around before we call it a day?
Nope, that's it.
What's going on in Houston, Raines?
Well, not a whole lot. We're licking our wounds from the Braves, one game away from sweeping our asses off the face of the earth. And just kind of recovering here. I'm going to burn a bunch of my fence that blew down last week and enjoy a night by the fire.
Well,
Somebody asked me if the wood was treated. I said, that wood's so old it only uses Facebook to buy used truck parts.
I want to reiterate, these maps were not available to the public when they were approved by your state legislature. Think about that for a minute.
Absolutely correct.
When did we get our hands on these maps? Thursday? Wednesday?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy what goes on up there. And my question is who came up with the first map that Chris Pringle and the people doing the good work of the people of Alabama, who handed them these maps?
And that Albritton district, Greg, not to be confused with Tom, but that is, boy, oh boy, that's more suspect than any of them.
Well, it all stinks to high heaven per normal.
Yep.
As usual.
Goodbye,
all right,
folks.
boys. Well, y'all have a good weekend.
All right. Be safe.
High-stepping turkeys.